Hello, welcome to Exposed News Outlet, where we shine light on topics that matter most. I'm your host, Dreya, and today we will be discussing how the United States and Israel launched a full-scale war on Iran, how it may be connected to Trump's desperate attempts to distract from the Epstein scandal, and why Congress never got to vote on any of it. This is big, this is real, and this is the truth they don't want you talking about. But before we get into it, if this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on our social media platforms. Links are in the description box below. Share this video because people need to see this. Now, let's get to the news. On Saturday, February 28th, 2026, the United States and Israel launched a coordinated military assault on Iran. They called it Operation Epic Fury. And I want you to sit with that name for 1 second, because that's what our government named an operation that has now killed hundreds of civilians, including at least 165 children out of 200 when a girls' school was struck in southern Iran. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, 86 years old, was killed in a targeted Israeli airstrike on his compound in Tehran. About 40 senior Iranian officials were killed in the initial wave alone, including Iran's defense minister, the head of the Revolutionary Guard, and multiple senior security officials. CIA intelligence has been tracking Khamenei's movements for months, and when they learned he would be at a meeting that Saturday morning, they pulled the trigger. The timeline was accelerated to capitalize on the opportunity. Trump went on television and called it, quote, already a success, end quote. He said they've, quote, inflicted tremendous damage, end quote, and it would take Iran years to rebuild. He also said, and I need you to hear this, quote, who will replace the supreme leader, end quote. But he joked, quote, I'm only being a little sarcastic, end quote, when he said he'd like a say in it. That's the President of the United States, folks. Is this a war? Republicans are out here trying to say this isn't a war because there are no boots on the ground. But let me tell you something. 4, as of this morning, American service members are dead. 4. That's a war. Trump himself acknowledged on Saturday that casualties, quote, often happen in war, end quote. His words, not mine. Congress never voted. No authorization. The Constitution requires it. Even Republican Representative Thomas Massie from Kentucky came out and said, quote, I am opposed to this war. This is not America first. The Constitution requires a vote, end quote. Iran's foreign minister called it, quote, unprovoked, illegal, and absolutely illegitimate, end quote. Cuba condemned it. Iran's ambassador to the UN called it a war crime and said hundreds of civilians have been killed. And the Iranian Red Crescent confirmed more than 200 deaths in the initial strikes. This is a war. regardless of how the Republicans want to try to frame it. The chaos spreading across the region. Iran immediately launched retaliatory strikes. Saudi Arabia was hit. Bahrain, where our Navy's 5th Fleet is headquartered, was targeted and struck. Watch this clip.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God! Okay.
Missile threat warning. A closet shelter immediately. Shelter in place. Missile threat warning. A closet shelter immediately. Shelter in place.
Kuwait has been thrust into the widening regional conflict after an Iranian drone targeted Kuwait International Airport, leaving multiple people injured and raising fresh alarm across the Gulf. According to Kuwait's General Authority of Civil Aviation, the drone strike caused minor injuries to several airport employees and limited material damage to the passenger terminal building. Official spokesperson Abdallah Al-Rajhi said emergency procedures were immediately activated, the incident was contained, and the site secured to ensure passenger safety. But the airport was not the only target. Kuwait's Ministry of Defense confirmed that Ali Al-Salam Air Base came under attack by several ballistic missiles. The Ministry of Health later reported that 12 people were injured amid the escalating regional developments. Among them were 3 members of the armed forces hurt by falling shrapnel at the airbase. Authorities say all injured individuals are under medical supervision and in stable condition. The tension has now spilled into daily life. Kuwait's Ministry of Islamic Affairs announced the cancellation of Taraweeh prayers in all mosques until further notice, along with the suspension of Thursday prayers, a rare and sobering measure reflecting the seriousness of the situation. The attacks follow U.S. President Donald Trump's declaration that America has launched major combat operations in Iran after Israel confirmed missile strikes on Iranian territory.
The United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests. We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We're going to annihilate their Navy. We're going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces and no longer use their IEDs or roadside bombs, as they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans.
Tehran has since retaliated, targeting Israel and U.S. assets across multiple Middle Eastern countries, including Qatar, the UAE, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Syria, Iraq, and Kuwait. Meanwhile, Iran's Red Crescent Society says U.S. and Israeli strikes have hit 24 provinces inside Iran, killing at least 201 people and wounding 747. Rescue teams remain deployed as the region braces for what may come next.
Since this morning alone, preliminary military assessments indicate that around 35 ballistic missiles have been launched from Iran toward Israeli territory. While Israel's air defense systems intercepted some of those missiles, others breached the defenses and struck open areas across the country. The fact that multiple projectiles penetrated Israel's layered air defense network marks a serious moment in the ongoing escalation. Missile and interceptor fragments have fallen in several locations in Israel, triggering emergency responses and heightening public anxiety. Israeli police confirmed they received numerous reports of debris landing in different parts of Israel amid the ballistic missile assault. While there have been no confirmed reports of direct missile impacts on densely populated urban centers, the falling fragments themselves have caused disruption and fear.
Room and proceed to the stairs room immediately. Attention, ceci est une alerte.
Medics say at least one man in his 50s was lightly injured in northern Israel. According to the Magen David Adom ambulance service, the man was hurt after falling into a hole caused by missile fragments. Emergency responders also treated several other individuals who were injured while rushing to shelters or who experienced acute anxiety during the attack. The scenes underscore the psychological and physical toll of sustained missile fire, even when interception systems are partially successful. Israel's air defenses, known for their multi-layered shield against aerial threats, did manage to intercept a number of incoming missiles. However, the fact that others were not neutralized and that debris has landed across multiple areas is raising pressing questions about the scale and intensity of the Iranian assault.
Kuwait's international airport was struck by a drone, injuring employees. Qatar heard explosions. Jordan said it intercepted 49 drones and ballistic missiles. In Dubai, a hotel area was struck by falling debris from intercepted drones. I actually have a clip of that I'll include here. Watch this clip.
Gas prices are set to soar as Iran blocks the Strait of Hormuz.
Before dawn broke over the Middle East, the sky lit up. Social media videos, purportedly filmed over Iraq, showed missiles flying low and fast, streaking towards Iran. Moments later, explosions were reported inside Iranian territory. Israeli and U.S. forces carried out joint strikes targeting Iranian regime sites and military facilities, according to an Israeli official. The operation has a name, Lion's Roar. Approved by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the title replaced an internal IDF designation. Officials now say Israel is bracing for several days of conflict. As missiles crossed Iraqi airspace en route to Iran, Baghdad responded. Iraq's transportation ministry announced the closure of national airspace following the strikes on its eastern neighbor. Air traffic halted at Erbil International Airport. Flights were grounded. A live flight radar map captured the moment. After Israel, Iraq, and Iran closed their airspaces, the screen showed vast stretches of the Middle East nearly empty of civilian aircraft. Corridors that typically carry heavy commercial traffic appeared cleared, aircraft diverted, routes redrawn in real time. The aviation map became a visual record of escalation. Missiles over Iraq, strikes inside Iran, airspace sealed across multiple borders. This is no isolated flashpoint. It is a coordinated military move with regional consequences, diplomatic, strategic, and civilian. For now, the skies remain restricted, the operation is underway, and the Middle East waits for the next move. Minutes after the attack, U.S. President posted a video statement on his Truth Social platform. He said the objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime.
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries. Among the regime's very first acts was to back a violent takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding dozens of American hostages for 444 days. In 1983, Iran's proxies carried out the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut that killed 241 American military personnel. In 2000, they knew and were probably involved with the attack on the USS Cole. Many died. Iranian forces killed and maimed hundreds of American service members in Iraq. The regime's proxies have continued to launch countless attacks against American forces stationed in the Middle East in recent years, as well as U.S. naval and commercial vessels in international shipping lanes. It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer. From Lebanon to Yemen and Syria to Iraq, the regime has armed, trained, and funded terrorist militias that have soaked the earth with blood and guts. And it was Iran's proxy, Hamas, that launched the monstrous October 7th attacks on Israel, slaughtering more than 1,000 innocent people, including 46 Americans, while taking 12 of our citizens hostage. It was brutal, something like the world has never seen before. Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terror and just recently killed tens of thousands of its own citizens on the street as they protested. It has always been the policy of the United States, in particular, my administration, that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. I'll say it again, they can never have a nuclear weapon. That is why in Operation Midnight Hammer last June, we obliterated the regime's nuclear program at Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. After that attack, we warned them never to resume their malicious pursuit of nuclear weapons, and we sought repeatedly to make a deal. We tried. They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't know what was happening. They just wanted to practice evil. But Iran refused, just as it has for decades and decades. They've rejected every opportunity to renounce their nuclear ambitions, and we can't take it anymore. Instead, they attempted to rebuild their nuclear program and to continue developing long-range missiles that can now threaten our very good friends and allies in Europe, our troops stationed overseas, and could soon reach the American homeland. Just imagine how emboldened this regime would be if they ever had and actually were armed with nuclear weapons as a means to deliver their message. For these reasons, the United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests. We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We're going to annihilate their Navy. We're going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world. and attack our forces and no longer use their IEDs or roadside bombs, as they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans. And we will ensure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. It's a very simple message. They will never have a nuclear weapon. This regime will soon learn that no one should challenge the strength and might of the United States Armed Forces. I built and rebuilt our military in my first administration, and there is no military on earth even close to its power, strength, or sophistication. My administration has taken every possible step to minimize the risk to U.S. personnel in the region. Even so, and I do not make this statement lightly, the Iranian regime seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran. We ask God to protect all of our heroes in harm's way, and we trust that, with his help, the men and women of the armed forces will prevail. We have the greatest in the world, and they will prevail. To the members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces, and all of the police, I say tonight that you must lay down your weapons and have complete immunity, or, in the alternative, face certain death. So, lay down your arms. You will be treated fairly with total immunity, or you will face certain death. Finally, to the great, proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations. For many years, you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. No president was willing to do what I am willing to do tonight. Now you have a president who is giving you what you want. So let's see how you respond. America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close within your reach. This is the moment for action. Do not let it pass. May God bless the brave men and women of America's armed forces. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless you all. Thank you.
That's what people keep glossing over. When you shoot a missile out of the sky, a missile or a drone or whatever, the debris has to land somewhere. And it's landing on civilians, girls' schools, hotels, residential neighborhoods, and the U.S. military says it's, quote, looking into it, end quote. Nothing will change. The regime is intact. Now I want to address something because everybody's running around saying, quote, good, Khamenei is gone, end quote. And look, I understand the sentiment. His regime was oppressive. He cracked down on hundreds, if not thousands, of protesters, killing thousands. He ran a brutal government. But here's the truth. He was 86 years old. Iran already had succession plans. Their foreign minister said plainly, quote, state institutions remain in place. We have constitutional procedures. A new leader will be chosen in 1 or 2 days, end quote. Analysis confirm the regime is fairly resilient. No mass defections. No government collapse. The same oppressive system, just with a new face at the top. And now, they are angrier, more motivated, and have every reason to retaliate against Americans globally. We didn't free anyone. Watch this clip.
The United States and Israel launched the first of numerous strikes in Iran early Saturday morning. President Donald Trump then quickly took to social media, imploring the Iranian people to, quote, take back your country.
I'm horrified. There's no grounds for it. It's totally unclear why Trump is undertaking something so catastrophic.
I don't think any country should be invaded without provocation. Let people live in peace. We don't need to interfere in other people's affairs, just like if Iran bombed the US, that would be the end of Iran. So, you know, America's acting like a bully.
The U.S. last struck Iran in June of last year when massive bombs were dropped on 3 Iranian nuclear sites. The foreign minister of Oman, who was helping broker talks between the U.S. and Iran over Iran's nuclear program, says he is, quote, dismayed by today's attacks and said, quote, I pray for the innocents who will suffer. I urge the United States not to get sucked in further. This is not your war.
It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer. From Lebanon to Yemen and Syria to Iraq, the regime has armed, trained, and funded terrorist militias that have soaked the earth with blood and guts. And it was Iran's proxy, Hamas, that launched the monstrous October 7th attacks on Israel, slaughtering more than 1,000 innocent people, including 46 Americans, while taking 12 of our citizens hostage. It was brutal.
An Israeli-American law professor at the University of Utah has words of caution now over the strikes.
His work focuses on terrorism, human rights, and national security. Our Christian Sita joins us live with more. Christian.
Mika, Brian, I spoke with that law professor today, and he tells me what could happen next. Now, Amos Yorma says while Israel and the U.S. may see this as a strategic win, removing a leader does not guarantee stability. He says Iran has missiles and the ability to target U.S. interests in the Middle East, but lacks strong defensive systems to stop attacks like this one. The bigger question now, he says, is how Iran chooses to respond.
I don't really know what their capabilities are moving forward beyond, other than in the Middle East attacking American targets. Clearly, from an American perspective, targeting American targets is an important issue, and one obviously needs to be attentive to that. And obviously, people like in Utah, for instance, have loved ones who are served in the military and who are potentially in harm's way. That absolutely demands attention.
Now, he says Americans should be watching closely for any threats to troopers overseas and just watching how things play out. Reporting live, Christian Sita, KUTV 2 News.
The confirmation of the death of the supreme leader, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, came early Sunday morning, with President Trump once again taking to social media, saying that the pinpoint bombing will continue until peace in the Middle East is achieved.
Israeli Defense Forces releasing this video. They say it shows a headquarters leveled by multiple missiles. The IDF says the location had served as a command center for terrorists on the ground.
And a live look at the White House right now, where President Trump warns more casualties may be coming. New developments. Oil prices rose sharply after the strikes.
New Iranian leaders are in place, according to the country's foreign minister, and President Trump signals he's open to dialogue with them.
Names are not released of the 3 U.S. service members killed in a retaliatory strike by Iran.
But the Washington Post reports they were Army soldiers deployed to Kuwait. U.S. Central Command has not confirmed when or where the soldiers died.
And sadly, there will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is. Likely be more, but we'll do everything possible where that won't be the case.
It's very, very difficult to explain.
Vandad Oladali, with a group called Iranians of Utah, says he's struggling to put his emotions into words.
At the same time, part of our heart is very happy. The country is under the bomb. We worry for people in Iran.
He calls the death of Iran's supreme leader a major step, but not the end.
But as I said, even if it is true, the job is not done. Ali Khamenei was just a person. The administration is still over there.
While he acknowledges the dangers of military action,
nobody the country be bombing.
He believes outside involvement was necessary.
The foreign support was needed for this regime change in Iran.
Ultimately, he says he hopes this moment leads to change.
We hope this end up with a regime change and free election and result in a democrat government in Iran.
Back here in Utah and across the country, police departments are pledging to prevent any violence in response to the strikes, and the Utah Department of Public Safety says that they are keeping a very close eye on any signs of trouble.
The Epstein distraction, follow the timeline. Now I want to talk about what was happening the week before the bombs dropped, because this is where it gets really important. On Thursday, February 26th, Robert Garcia, the top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, called for Trump to testify under oath about his connections to Jeffrey Epstein, not just once, but again on Friday. He cited a new precedent set by the committee forcing former President Bill Clinton and his wife Hillary Clinton to be deposed. Watch this clip.
Thank you. I'm Ranking Member Robert Garcia for Oversight Democrats. I'm going to make some brief statements, as well my colleagues, and then perhaps a question or two, and then we're going to get back to the deposition. As a reminder, this deposition has now gone on for about 2 hours, 2 hours plus 2.5 hours, and so that it will continue throughout the day. And so I'm going to be also respectful of not being specific, but we do have some overall statements to make. And a lot of this obviously ties into what the Secretary has already put out herself in her opening statement. Just want to begin by just clarifying and putting emphasis on something that's very important, and it's something the Secretary herself has said. Secretary Clinton never met Jeffrey Epstein. She never visited the island. She never flew on his plane. And she also had no knowledge of Jeffrey Epstein's horrific crimes. So zero knowledge of any wrongdoing. And you've also all heard that directly from her. Secretary Clinton is also completely cooperating with the deposition and the committee, and is answering questions in full faith and in good faith. What is not acceptable is oversight Republicans breaking their own committee rules that they established with the Secretary and her team, which you've all reported and you've seen by releasing photos. Not acceptable, and it was gracious of the Secretary and her team to continue the deposition. What we also want to say at this very moment is it's becoming more clear every single day is the questions continue to build around this DOJ and the White House and the focus of the majority. We want to understand right now where the missing FBI files are. These are files that accuse the President of the United States about serious accusations around sexual abuse. And the fact that they're not in the files and have been apparently either removed or discarded is incredibly concerning. And so we're calling on Attorney General Pam Bondi to immediately release those files. And lastly, I want to also add that this committee has now set a new precedent about talking to presidents and former presidents. And we're demanding immediately that we ask President Trump to testify in front of our committee and be deposed in front of oversight Republicans and Democrats. And that should happen immediately. He is the person that appears almost more than anyone else in the committee, and it needs to happen right now.
Mr. Chairman, do you distinguish at all between a president and a former president and a sitting president? I mean, is there something in there? Because they will say, wait a minute, we know. I think what the court ruled on his immunity.
We should depose the person that is mentioned in the Epstein files almost more than any other person next to Ghislaine Maxwell, and that's Donald Trump.
And actually, I hadn't really thought about it, but they brought it up on the weeknight, on Friday, I believe, that Bill Clinton was actually deposed twice while he was a sitting president for two separate, for Monica Lewinsky and then for another allegation. In fact, let me play this clip. I'll include the clip here.
You know, the chairman, and I'm not talking about Chairman Comer, the only chairman I acknowledge is the chairman sitting across the table from me right now, is the former chairman of the RNC, Michael Steele. He made a really important point in our internal call that we do every day, our nice little group chat at 3 p.m. And he really drilled down on the point that Bill Clinton was a sitting president, and he sat for a deposition, and it really didn't dawn on me until that moment, frankly, that there is already a precedent for a sitting president coming before Congress, coming before, at least in a legal situation, sitting for a deposition. And these were in civil lawsuits, and one was in a grand jury testimony. Both on January 17th, 1998, he sat for a deposition for Paula Jones in a civil lawsuit. On the right side of your screen, you see August 17th, 1998, grand jury testimony for the Starr-Lewinsky investigation. Bill Clinton was the president of the United States from 1993 to 2001. If that happened for Bill Clinton, where is the precedent for not calling Donald Trump? I think we're asking the wrong question here. It's not about what groundwork needs to be laid to call him. What groundwork are the Republicans laying to give evidence that he shouldn't be called? Because right now I haven't seen any.
I think they're just wandering aimlessly through the wilderness, hoping to come out on the other side with some type of semblance of credibility, which they have none. At the end of the day, Donald Trump needs to come before the committee and testify, raise his right hand, just like Bill Clinton did today, just like Hillary Clinton did yesterday, and answer the questions. If you're not guilty, there's nothing to be concerned about. The problem with Donald Trump is that he is mentioned more times than I think anyone else other than Jeffrey Epstein in the Epstein files, and as well as Ghislaine Maxwell. And he has a problem that he can't talk himself out of with his base for the very first time. And we're not going to let up, because it's important not only for the American people point of view and concern, but also we have real victims. We have real women, girls who were trafficked, and they deserve justice.
And here's why it matters. NPR had just reported that the Department of Justice withheld and removed Epstein files specifically related to allegations that Trump sexually abused a minor. Garcia confirmed his team reviewed unredacted evidence logs at the DOJ and said it appears the DOJ illegally withheld FBI interviews with this survivor. The DOJ was caught hiding documents. Democrats were demanding Trump sit for a deposition. Approval ratings were sinking. Some even have anywhere between 55% disapproval to 63% or higher. Midterms are 8 months away. And then bombs on Iran. Now, I'm not saying that's the only reason this happened, but I am saying the timing deserves scrutiny. And I am pointing out that Trump himself spent years from 2011 to 2013 warning America that Obama would play the Iran card to win elections and distract from his failures, what Trump called his failures. Trump tweeted, quote, "Don't let Obama play the Iran card in order to start a war in order to get elected," end quote. Obama never attacked Iran. Trump just did. Months before midterms, with his polls tanking and Epstein investigators closing in. You tell me, who's playing the Iran card? Let me play this clip.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. So the only way he figures that he's going to get reelected, and as sure as you're sitting there, is to start a war with Iran. Now, I'm more militant and more militaristic than the president. I believe in strength. But to start a war in order to get elected, and I believe that's going to happen, would be an outrage. This is a great time to negotiate. Unfortunately, we have a president that doesn't know the first thing about negotiation. We have a real problem in the White House. So, I believe that he will attack Iran sometime prior to the election because he thinks that's the only way he can get elected. Isn't it pathetic?
The Hypocrisy Hall of Fame. Let's just run through this real quick. J.D. Vance, before becoming VP, said he hoped America would, quote, learn its lessons, end quote, from Iraq. Now he's VP of an Iran war. Tulsi Gabbard, now Director of National Intelligence. Frightening, I know. Sold t-shirts that said, quote, no war with Iran, end quote, during her 2020 presidential campaign that went nowhere. Now she's in the room where it happened. Stephen Miller warned that a vote for Kamala Harris was a vote for World War III. He now works in the White House that started a war with Iran. Trump himself called it a war, called people who started forever wars criminals, ran on ending wars, is now in year 2 of his second term, having attacked Iran 3 times and having attacked more countries in just these 2 years than any other president in modern history in their entirety. This is not America first. This is not peace. This is the most dangerous and transparent hypocrisy we have ever seen from an administration in modern history. Call to action. Here's what I need from you right now. And I mean right now, because the media is going to move on from this. They always do. Please contact your congressional representatives and demand that they vote on War Powers resolution. Share this video with 5 people today. Have the conversation at your kitchen table, in your group chats, in your communities. Don't let them normalize this behavior. This is not partisan. This is about truth, accountability, and lives. Real lives. American soldiers, Iranian children in schools, travelers stranded at airports, people just trying to live, caught in the crossfire of political calculation. If this video gave you something to think about, please like, comment, and share. Be sure to subscribe to Exposed News Outlet with Dreya. Follow us on social media. The links are in the description box below. Also, leave me a comment and tell me, do you think the timing of this war and the Epstein investigation is a coincidence? Because I don't. I'm Dreya. Stay informed, stay loud, and never stop asking questions. We'll see you next time. Be safe, and thank you for watching till the end.